Welcome to MarketPulse Pros and Pioneers. Each week, I talk with industry leaders on both marketing and entrepreneurship and business to find out all about their wins and failures in marketing right now. We'll hear all about successes and wins and what's fallen flat so that you can take that knowledge and implement it. Learn from the best, from the folks who've been there and done it all, as well as people just like you. Thanks for joining us. This is MarketPulse Pros and Pioneers.
Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of MarketPulse Pros and Pioneers. This week, I'm joined by our first European audience member, our first European guest. Thank you very much for joining us, Maciej. Thank you for coming along.
Thank you so much, Paul, for inviting and thanks for hosting the great podcast, which I already have listened to a few times. Great job. Thank you.
And you still came along to record, so that's a good sign. I like it. Maciej here is the co-founder and CEO at Workplace, where he leverages his 15 years experience as both a CFO and a CEO in the industrial tools sector. So very different vertical to what our audience traditionally is, which is great to have on. Maciej's got a strong background in everything around logistics, e-commerce and finance, but he's also an AI educator, helping businesses integrate their AI with human expertise in order to drive growth, and currently focusing on enhancing the presence of Polish industry in the UK while addressing the challenges that Polish companies can face in effective digital marketing strategies. Just first of all, to call out, I think that's a fantastic business angle. A lot of the businesses that we're talking to here in the UK that our audience traditionally is, and we've got some US audience as well, I think there's a lot to learn from the approach for globalization and how we can take what we know about our home market and transfer that across. So I'm excited to dive into that. But before we do that, I'd just love to hear a little bit more about your background there in the manufacturing and industrial tools sector, Maciej, because you were kind of explaining some of it to me before the show started. I think there's an incredible amount of expertise, and it's nice to see somebody who has gone on that journey from that start point to where you are now as to why you ended up doing what it is that you're doing now. So if you just want to kind of walk the audience through some of that, I think would be interesting to hear. Thank you.
Yeah. So I've been working for a company that is specializing in tool production and also B2B sales, runs 10,000 customers. These has been the roles of CFO and then managing director and board member and, doing various things all over Europe and world. There's a very interesting job, and I spent there like 12 years, maybe 13. And at a certain point, I just felt that I lacked the excitement and that something needs to change. And that whole came up together with the whole AI revolution. So then I said, okay, now who has a company which has 3 or 4 AI agents who work and perform actual job? I said, I don't know a person who has it. So I just thought maybe I'd be the person. So together with my partner, we've founded a company, and the company is, we're doing lots of things, but the first thing is the marketing to the UK action. So we try to get Polish companies to UK. Second thing is we provide AI training. So I will also be working as a tutor in the Warsaw University with that, AI in finance. And another thing is that we try to help Asian companies come to Europe. That's point number 3. And I think point number 4, again, I'm in e-commerce. So right now I'm sitting in Warsaw in a company that is the second largest Polish company that is producing dog food, and I'm consulting their project. So it's an incredible journey because within the last 2-3 months, I think more things happened than ever before in my professional life. And I'm so really interested in the fact that, I change topics every day. It's, like a roller coaster. And today with you, Paul, that's another great thing. And also, we have common friends, and it's just so exciting to do that. I feel that at a certain point, I even have to stop because, you cannot live on such a hype all the time.
Yeah.
You have to stop and, go fishing with your son or whatever. But yeah, it's great. Right now, I'm in the moment where when I have lots of things. Some of them are difficult for me. Some of them are difficult. For example, the university thing. Yeah, it's difficult. I've always thought that I'm not the guy that teach anybody about anything. I'm like okay, maybe sometimes I do some things good properly, but I don't know if I can teach anybody anything. But it turned out that it's not the case. You just have to believe in yourself and believe it. You have to have a sort of you have to have sort of an idea of how to communicate your knowledge or experience, and it makes people maybe not learn, but somehow learn from your experience, and that's also important. Yeah,
Helps
so
people to,
right now I'm doing very many things, out of which all of them concentrate on marketing, finance, and also the AI, which is an excellent tool for I'm sorry, for play right now, because we have the AI agents for various things, which have been prepared by my partner, but I think it's such an evolving uh, technology that, we're using the tools that we use today, and within a year, we won't use them for sure. So in order just to be in the loop, uh, we have guys
the
who even had
experimentation
their
in clear,
pictures
right?
on the wall. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And it's a fascinating story. And it's clear that you're following your passions, which, I applaud, because a lot of people are stuck in a box, in a self-labeled box, in a job that they believe that is the only job that they can do. And to be able to step outside of that, I've spoken to a few guests on the show who've done similar. They recognize what they want to do as a sub part of, not limited by a job title. I enjoy helping people. And it's clear that, from what you're describing, that you're on a journey to support people in lots of different ways. To come back to the marketing angle from helping Polish businesses enter the UK. Can you kind of elaborate a little bit on that in the first place? Like, why is that a challenge for Polish companies?
It stems out of my personal experience, because I started like maybe 10 or 12 years ago, trying to develop some sales, uh, generally, to the EU, because the company before that was kind of limited to Polish market. And I started with Denmark. So we tried to do direct sales to Denmark, because Denmark, it's a 4 days of delivery, so it's not that bad. And the product is the same that you sell almost everywhere, so that should work. So we had a guy who had excellent well, it was American accent, because he was born in the New York. So we hired a guy. We hired another person who was also an excellent English speaker, not like me, but it was like a really fluent native speaker. And they started to talking with those Danish somewhere everywhere all around Denmark. So we gathered like 150 customers. We were testing our product at maybe 50. After tests, maybe 30 customers started some kind of cooperation. And after 1 year, I failed, because actually, when any trouble came around with that product, they just wanted to describe the problem in their language. So I had this experience, and I said, okay, direct B2B doesn't work. You have to get some intermediary in between, right? And from my perspective, it was strange, because in Denmark it didn't work. In Iceland, for example, it worked, but it worked with Polish people who went to work in Iceland. Because I think there are around the same number of Polish people as Icelanders right now. With the UK market, which mm, well, which I was also good to know a bit, because I was in a very direct cooperation with one of the companies based in Scotland, Jedbra. Uh, Difference that I could tell was that British companies, I would say, benefit driven in their choices, in their business choices.
Mhm.
Polish companies, German companies, or Italian companies, and engineers and staffs, they're all feature driven, which means that if you meet with somebody from Germany and so on, you talk about diameters, meters, kilograms, efficiency, whatever, capacity. And with British people, it's always about, okay, now tell me how many pounds can I save per minute by buying this machine and so on. What exact benefit do I receive? Can I write to my company that when I use your offer? So it's so much more like mercantile, and it's so much more. Maybe Dutch people are kind of similar, but anyway, I think it has something to do with your whole sea history, with this being the empire of the seas and so on. And same with Dutch, because they also have this. I think that's the word, mercantile view on purchasing.
Hi, and thanks for joining us for the show. I'm Paul, founder here at Javelin Content Management. We specialize in getting ideas out of your head, down into video, and out to your social media through repurposing and efficient content strategies. If you want to find out how you can convert your ideal audience into paying customers, reach out to us, javelincontent.com, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the episode.
And that also forces companies that want to enter the UK to change their perspective, to change their marketing attitude, and also to prepare for something else. Because you cannot use the same techniques, you cannot use the same patterns as you would use, for example, here. If you're selling industrial products, it's usual to invite your customer to your HQ to show them the specifics of the machine, to show how it works. But it's not that good. Is it accompanied by a direct offer and direct benefit package that would be expected by a British customer? So you have to change that. You have to adopt that. And most probably, which I'm also very much supporting, Polish companies who really want to get to UK should talk to you, Paul. They should talk to Phil. That is the way you should do it. Otherwise, well, the UK is much more open than the rest of Europe. It's always been open for the whole Commonwealth countries, Australia, States, and so on. Europe is much more closed. For example, France, it's totally closed, and they don't even speak other languages.
Like that's a really interesting observation, because I see similar sort of problems. Like, so ideally, I'd like to have, my main business, I'd like to have more American clients. It's more tax efficient, and I actually think Americans, so I do a lot of video. Americans are much more open to video content in general, right? Like, they're ready to do it. They're happy to represent themselves and merchandise themselves and tell their story. And there's no shyness or there's less humility. And I don't mean that in a negative way. They're just more open to selling what they've got. And I think that's a great mindset to have. However, you hit the nail on the head. Like, if I go and try and sell to them in the same way I sell to British people, they get bored because they don't want to hear the story. They don't want to know where I've come from, why I do what I do. It's, hey, pal, how much is this going to cost me? When can you get started? And what do I get for my money? Right? So it's a very direct, different, commercially led approach in America.
I would say that it's not kind of a general rule, because I know many markets. Like, I've been into the industrial tools, definitely feature driven only. Really, guys don't care about the price in the beginning, and in the end also they do not. At a certain point, at a certain level, to some extent, they don't care. They just want to buy a Japanese machine, and that's it. But for example, like right here, when I'm here at Piesotto, which is a producer and distributor of dog food, there is something with people changing dog food 5 times a year. So you change from that to that, that to that. So in the end, they've got like, an average time of loyalty, like 4 months or so, or 6. And I cannot find out, why would you change something that's so good? And I think, yeah, that's most likely maybe the customer market here starts to be more like price and benefit driven. Obviously, we've had a large inflation stuff. We're feeling that everything so much more expensive. But coming back to the UK market, it is fascinating that Polish companies are so weak in the UK. Because, like, if you look at Polish economy, I think that within the last 35 years, Polish economy was up like 4 or 5 times, comparing to the US being only 50% up.
Yeah.
Right. So Poland is the most, within that time, Poland is the most quickly developing country in the world. I think China is behind us. So it's been enormous what has happened. And yet we know how to cooperate with many continental countries here.
Yeah.
But with UK, yeah, we lack something. So I just thought that maybe that's a niche and maybe that's a thing worth talking about, and
I think
bringing good Polish companies to the UK to enrich your supply chains.
I think that's absolutely fair. And I think you make a really valid point in that there is some significant value for British companies working with Polish companies and vice versa. I just do think also that there's a certain level, I'm going to call it arrogance. I don't think it's meant in the negative way that we take arrogance, right? I think there's an arrogance in English speaking people in general that we talk in a certain way and we expect all of the cultures to be able to accept that and move with that. And so I think there's probably a similar barrier going the other way from the UK to Poland or any other European country, particularly. I mean, you mentioned France being closed doors. Like, I know my audience because of what I do. I'm predominantly English language focused because that's what the translation software understands best. That's where it's most accurate. And it's a big enough market. I'm a one-man band essentially, but why would I want to do anything else? But for businesses that are growing, we kind of discount a lot of Europe because, oh, well, they speak a different language to us, so I'm not going to bother. And it's interesting that mindset that you've got there. Like, I think there's some real scope for the people, but you're right. There's got to be an intermediary. There's got to be somebody in the middle that can understand one side, translate it, and understand the culture of their target country and help them reach those people.
It's funny because I already knew that if you want to start a business in China, you have to have a representative in China, a Chinese person. So when you have your meetings, you speak, they speak, and after the meeting, that person in the middle tells who meant what and what are the results. So and I've been doing that, and it works really. And I cannot think of doing that without an agency in China. Actually, same with India, because this is also a direction where I'm interested in. And from my perspective, it's like there are some companies, some very good companies. Sometimes they're family companies, medium, large, sometimes even small, where they don't have the perspective, that it is possible to start working with somebody, let's say from the UK or Spain. They don't have this perspective, and they are looking for ways because our, same like in Britain, some companies are devoted to their local market and they get enormous revenue, great profits. Fine. What's wrong? They don't have to know any language, and they are just excellent workplaces. So I'm in to help those people to get to you, get to Phil, get to other guys, who really are locally based in the UK and to really can help. The thing is, I'm not the only one. There are also various organizations in Poland who who are meant to internationalize companies. And I've been on such trips, and it was great time because you meet a lot of people. So last year I've been in Spain and in Vigo. There were
Yeah.
guys. One guy he was like from a yacht shipyard, and he owns actually a yacht shipyard. He produces yachts for mainly people from Middle East. But he was totally never ever on a biz trip in Europe. So it was his first time.
Yeah.
And that was an experience for him. Okay, he knew. Well, he just had a look at other people, had a look at how it works, some exhibition, and I think you learn a lot by experience. So even if you're not well prepared, even if whatever, just start doing something. Like I started with that Denmark. That was a failure. That was a failure, and I should have known it before. But thanks to Denmark, which was a fail and totally catastrophe, yeah, I got Netherlands, Romania, Hungary, Austria, Finland. Yeah, because I learned from that. It was lesson learned, and that's fine. And a real success, is built on piles of failures, actually piles. And
Yeah.
so you have to fail 10 times to have the success. And these fails are the fundament for success. And I strongly believe in that, so never give up and pursue what you think
But I think
is
that's what
possible.
a lot of people can benefit from working with marketing consultants at the right time, right? Is they can benefit from standing on their shoulders to an extent and not needing to repeat a lot of the main failures that marketing consultant will have already had. Like I can fast forward you past all of these things. You're still going to make mistakes, but hopefully we'll avoid all the catastrophe. We'll get you to a point where we'll experiment with things that are much less risky and help you get then to the point that works. So whether you know what something's doing and it's growing and it's working nicely. If I could rewind back a little bit back to the beginning where we talked about AI, specifically around marketing and supporting people with marketing, and you mentioned AI agents. So, but for business owners who are watching at home and they're a little bit kind of flustered by AI and like, I know I need to do something with it at some point. What is an AI agent? Is it a robot that comes to their house and helps them with their marketing? I know it's not. But
Let me start with just 3 sentences before, because many people are so feel by the whole AI agenda. And I have in the trainings that we give, we've made even a sort of a model where we show how simple the idea behind that is. Because AI is just simple maths, it's just simple calculus, probability. And what you have to really understand is that AI is basing on the data that it has. So basically, tries to guess what will be next, basing upon that what was before. The whole mathematics is shockingly simple, but obviously billions of parameters.
yeah,
That is very very important. So, guys, an AI agent is, put it simple, an AI app that has been pre-learned about what you want her to do. So, for example, I I write a lot of text for some applications, for some projects, for funding, pitches to investors and so on. So when I do it in a special style. So the simplest thing to do was to put all my text from the past into the GPTs, that's what we call it, and make the machine learn how do I write. Right now, when I have something to write, sort of a pitch, a project, or whatever, I just put the general idea about that. I just put the documents that, the rules of the project, the procedure, and so on. And I got something that is 85% ready,
yeah,
which means I save a lot of time and can use the time for something else. And that's great. So if you, for example, because together with my partner, we have created few things like that. even that was in a company where there were around 40 salesmen, and they lacked technical expertise. So there was actually 1 or 2 people who knew everything, and the rest was like, okay, I'm selling. And so we just created an agent who got all the materials, all the trainings that were possible, and they could chat with this agent. It's so easy. It's not 100% sure. It will never be. But it's such a great thing, not to waste your time on some mundane tasks like, writing the same sentences all over time, all over again. It's something actually that you can create on your own. And I'm telling everybody who listens to us right now is able to do that. I have done a simple thing for my son. He's 9 years old. He was taking part in a maths competition. And there were some questions from previous years. I just loaded those questions. I just loaded the regulations of the contest. And I said, okay, ask him questions, produce new questions, and teach him. And it started to do so. And it really worked. And he got quite a nice result. And that was a really great thing, because that was something, it's actually so simple that you can even teach your kid how to do it. And it's just, within everyone's reach.
I think for me, a lot of people misunderstand the nearer level of complexity of the top of AI that doesn't need to be there in an effort to avoid having to do anything with it. Or I'm not a technical person, so I'm not going to touch AI. And I'd need to employ a really complicated, expensive person to be able to do that for me, surely. So we're going to work without it. But what you said there is really, really important. And that's how I learned to use AI much more effectively, is to start using it for all the daily tasks that even outside of work. I helped my son create a story with AI, and it asked him, what characters he wanted involved in the story. What did he want to happen? Who was the bad guy? Who was the good guy? And we started that way, and it gives you ideas and it makes you curious. And now I use it for, like, this episode will be transcribed. I'll put the transcript in there and it'll give me a set outputs that I need in order to get it on the website and on YouTube and things. And then, to your point, and this is crucial, is it doesn't get it 100%. So it still needs a human over the top of it. But for the vast majority of things, it's almost there. But you need to have that don't ever use it just to be lazy. It needs to have that human over the top, right?
Yeah. Don't be lazy. Try being 3 times faster, and try to find out new ways to use your time to be more and more creative. It is very easy, and it is people, in the personal life. That's great. I was even digging some hole in my garden, and I made the AI calculate the number of buckets that I need to. But from the business perspective, it may not be easy, and I believe that quite soon it will be expensive. Because in terms of, when I was like in a company, I found out that there was somebody who has used personal data of employees, to rework them somehow by GPT or Bard, Gemini, I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, that's a breach of many, many regulations, and that's a problem. And you may be liable for that if you're a board member or so. But in order to use AI safely, Britain's safe, but the EU AI Act is going to change a lot. It's going to block. I don't know if GPT will still be there. Still, you have to be always up to date. For example, right now here, guys in Poland from Speaklish, they're called Speaklish.org. They created an LLM model which can based even on your phone. It can be based. It's only 1 billion of parameters, so it's small, but it can be based on your computer totally locally, which means that you can apply a business function to that and have it, with no internet cable. attached to that, and this still will be AI. So it's incredible how many things can you solve with that. And I came up with a very strange and totally simplistic way to describe AI. So, I presented the first time in March on the conference. It was like, where will I go for holidays this year? So generally there are some criteria. So obviously one destination should win, and the criteria do not change that much. So actually I should go every year to the same location. That's not true. Second time you won. The second time or third time you won. And this will be called the presence penalty parameter of the AI. So the same answer won't be repeated forever. And that's why it simulates intelligence. So it's just a probability, 90% Tuscany, but 8% is Crete.
I love it. I love it. That's some fantastic principles so that people can help understand what AI is. Because we hear a lot on this show about stop using AI and AI is evil. And none of those people come to that from a malicious point of view. Like I've seen AI misused. I'm sure everybody has misused. But it's great to hear from an advocate for AI as to what it is capable of doing, how it can help you in a realistic term. Like, I see any number of people telling me how to use an AI to tell me what meals I should be cooking this week. Well, that's great, but it doesn't save me a lot of money for my business. There are countless ways it can save you money, time and efficiency for your business. So if you're watching at home, you watch along to the show, I hope you're still here. And if you are, then I would encourage you to reach out to Maciej because he's a fantastic personality. I've been following his posts on LinkedIn for a little while now, and there's lots and lots of value to be added. And Maciej, if somebody wants to reach out and find out a little bit more about what you do or how you might be able to help them, what's the best way for them to contact you?
Call me. Just call me or write on LinkedIn or write me an email or whatever, or just call Paul, and I think he already has my number.
I'll connect you. Fantastic. Yeah, honestly, I will put your contact details in the show notes. But thank you very much for coming along and being a great guest, Maciej. I really enjoyed the chat.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for coming along and watching the show, because if it wasn't for you turning up every week, we wouldn't be making the show. So thank you for watching the episode or listening to it. If you're on a podcast directory, please don't forget to give us a subscribe. And new ask for everyone. I've always asked you to subscribe, but if you would give a review for us, that would mean the world to me, because so many of you email and message each week to say that you've enjoyed the show. Please, if you could put that in a review on the episode or on the channel, that would be amazing. Thank you very much. And I will see you next week.
Thanks for joining us for today's show. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to feature on a future show, or you've got some ideas for folks who would make a great guest, please drop us a line. Contact details are in the show notes, and I'd love to hear from you. Your host today was me, Paul Banks, founder at Javelin Content Management. Here at Javelin, we specialise in helping busy business owners just like you to repurpose video content, taking all the stress and tech problems away and turning your long-form video into literally hundreds of pieces of content without breaking the bank. We describe it as getting ideas out of your head into video and out to your socials. If you want to launch your personal brand, become the vendor of choice for your audience, or maximise your sales revenue impact, we'd love to hear from you. Join us next Wednesday for the next episode, and don't forget to subscribe and give us a review. Our podcast is only possible with your continued support.